What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the show. Hopefully, everyone's having an amazing day. I would like to just say last night, I become a five-time softball champion. That's right. We destroyed the first team in the semifinals. We were up 25 to nothing going into the last inning. We won 25 to 2. We forfeited them after about 25 minutes. We went to the finals playing the number 1 seed. We were the 2 seed. They beat us last year, either in the semis or the finals. I forget, but we ended up beating them 11 to 6. I played absolutely awful. I'm not going to lie. I struck out my first at bat. Don't ask. Long story. I didn't got a couple of walks. I didn't get a hit all night. I walked a bunch. I think I made contact twice with the. It's just, we just don't talk about it. But a win's a win. The team did it, not me. I'm just sitting there looking pretty, you know. But anyways, enough about that. I'm excited about that. I'm ready for the next season to kick off in January. I'm excited. But look, before we go any further, let me tell you right now, something is completely off in the market. Not in a scary way, in the, holy bleep, this might be the last clean buy window we ever get kind of way. I'm looking at the data, the flows, the insider moves, and it's all pointing in one direction, that the window is closing faster than anyone realizes. And the craziest part is that the people who always see it first, the whales, the institutions, the governments, they are quietly pulling levers in the background. They're already repositioning themselves. They're not out there waiting for CNBC to tell them what to do. They are moving now. So I want you to buckle up. I'm about to take you on a ride during this episode. Because what I'm about to show you, this is going to be the kind of stuff that makes the entire market look completely different when you actually take a step back and look at the overall picture. If you miss this, guess what? You're going to miss what's coming next, and you're not going to want to miss that. As always, please do me a favor. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. The more thumbs up we get, the more YouTube will help push out this content. And make sure you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Both are free. Why not? Now let's jump into the markets, because it looks absolutely awful out there. Bitcoin, $81,651. It is down over 11% right now. Absolutely insane. ETH coming in at 2,655. It's down about 12%. XRP coming in at $1.85. It is down 12% as well. Total cryptocurrency market cap, 3.13 trillion. As your fear and greed index, we are at extreme fear around here. Now, look, is this the exact bottom? I don't know, man. You can say the bottom is here and this thing goes down to 80,000 and people tell you got it wrong. Who knows? We're not trying to find the bottom. We are trying to get as close as we can to the bottom levels. Can we go deeper? 100%. Bitcoin can get down into that upper 60 to upper $70,000 region. That can happen. XRP, as we told you, we've been going over the targets for you, $1.90, $1.70, $1.50. Those are the key levels that we are paying attention to on it. Do I think it's over? That's the $1 million question. For Bitcoin, I do. Can we see a relief bounce on Bitcoin, maybe back up into the $90,000 to $100,000 region? Sure, that could happen. But do I believe that we're going to see this crazy Bitcoin parabolic blow off again up around that $200,000 region? No, not this time, not this cycle. We can thank Binance for that, for what they did in the 10th, because that really destroyed the markets. Do I believe we're going to get an all season? Well, as long as I've been here, and this is my third bull cycle, I have never seen a cycle where there is not an altcoin season, and everything is shaping up for that. Let's start with this. This is where shit gets weird. Owen Gudden. He is one of the oldest Bitcoin whales out there. A dude who is sitting on his bag since 2011. He just basically rage quit the entire market. Now, for over a decade, the guy barely moved a single coin. He didn't panic in 2018. He didn't flinch during the China mining ban. He didn't touch his stack during FTX. But suddenly, out of nowhere, he unloads over $11 Bitcoin worth $1.3 billion and finalizes the whole thing with a $230 million transfer to Kraken. All of it, he's gone. He's out. I mean, look, good for this guy. If I had 1.3 billion, I would be out too. Crap, if I had 10 million, I would be out. So look, whales, they don't just cash out. I want you to realize this. That's the whole point of this message right here. Whales do not just cash out, they rotate. I want you to look at the timing here and look at the macro backdrop, right? Look at the ETF flows. This kind of move right here, it's not bearish. This is strategic. When a decade-old long diamond hander taps out during a moment of max liquidity, well, that suggests that something bigger is coming. These old school Bitcoin whales, they know when the wind is shifting. They feel the macro pressure before retail even wakes up. This right here, this is the crypto equivalent of watching a legendary poker player quietly push all of his chips into another stack. But the question then becomes, what is this dude preparing for, right? And why now? Well, I got the answer for you, and I think it's right here. So right as we see one of the biggest Bitcoin whales in history exit the stage, Japan decides to drop a financial nuke on the global markets. They just approved a stimulus package worth $135 billion in US terms, about 21.3 yen. 21.3 trillion yen. I think I said that right. This is projected to have an overall economic impact of $265 billion. Now, folks, this is the kind of stimulus that you only see when governments are desperate, right? Or when they're preparing for something massive on the horizon. And look what happened instantly. The Japanese yen collapsed to its weakest level against the US dollar since 2025. That's not volatility. That is a signal. Every time Japan weakens the yen like this, liquidity slashes across global market. It spills into risk asset. It primes the environment for a major rotation. Traders, they're already on alert for potential Bank of Japan intervention because that move was that extreme. Think about that. Now let's go back. This was the same playbook that countries ran back in 2020. What do? You flood the system, you debase the currency, you inflate asset prices, then you reset the board. But here's where it gets juicy. Because when governments go full stimulus mode, Bitcoin becomes the first stop. But the big money, the smart money, right? That's already looking past Bitcoin and ETH. They're watching the assets that benefit from liquidity plus regulatory clarity plus institutional infrastructure. Think about that. And that leads us right into your ETF flows. Now, look, I see this question a lot. I get asked this question a lot, and I have no problem answering questions. I actually enjoy answering questions. People want to know, we have all these ETFs, we have all these inflows, but why is the price going down? That's what everyone wants to know. That is what they cannot wrap their head around this. Why is the price going down when we have all of these ETFs buying up spot XRP? I'm going to tell you why. Don't worry about it. Let's talk about the inflows first. On November 20th, Bitcoin spot ETF had 903 million in outflows, means it's leaving. ETH, 261 million in outflows, it's leaving. But look who didn't bleed. Solana took in 23 million, XRP took in 118 million. So in a day where the two biggest assets out there got hammered, the rotation flowed into assets that these institutions actually wanted exposure to for the next cycle. This isn't retail buying dips, folks. This is people restructuring their portfolios. What you're seeing is the market naturally gravitating towards assets that have real world utility, compliance pathways, and long term adoption narratives that the big players they can justify to their boards. Because remember, the big players got to answer to someone, right? This is the kind of flow pattern that happens before a narrative flips publicly. It starts quiet, it starts in the ETF pipes, and then it absolutely erupts. Now, here's what ties everything together. You can see Canary's ETF. I mean, the volume has been absolutely insane on this thing. Bitwise came out yesterday. It's been a thing of beauty. I confirmed with Chad yesterday, we are getting, by the end of next week, we'll have seven. Remember, the countdown starts when you get 5. We will have 7 ETFs live. We know Grayscale and Franklin are on Monday. That puts you at 4. 21 shares, coin shares, and wisdom tree will be launching. Chad said next week. He says all next week. Yes, we'll find some official days. We'll get it, but we know Monday's a big day. So now, here's the part that everyone misunderstands. When ETF inflows hit, the price doesn't explode immediately. I've talked about this. I've done live streams on this. That is why it pays to come to a live stream. Ask the questions to get answers. It's the opposite. They always lag. So the question is why though? It's simple. Because the early flows are seeding. It's structuring. It's arbitraging, positioning, and it is inventory alignment. Funds don't buy the exact second that retail notices. They build quietly. They accumulate at stable prices to avoid dragging the market. Historically, and this is true across Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum's ETFs, your price impacts did not show up for 30 to 60 days later once the flow stabilizes and liquidity channels lock in. That's why I told you give it until we get at least 5 ETFs up and running. But it looks like, according to Chad, by the end of next week, we will have 7. Think of it like lighting a fuse. It doesn't explode on the touch, it burns silently. And then what happens? You get a detonation. You combine all of this with a decade-long Bitcoin whale exiting the market, a major global economy drops pandemic tier stimulus, Bitcoin and Ethereum see massive ETF outflows, XRP posts a 9-figure inflow, and then 7 XRP ETFs are about to be live simultaneously. This isn't noise, folks. This is the setup before the repricing event. And that buy window that everyone keeps taking for granted, yeah, that window shrinks every time liquidity shifts like this. So here's the truth, man. Most people won't see the pivot until we already are halfway into the move. They'll still be debating whether the bull run is real, while the institutional pipelines are already shifting capital behind the scenes. Whales rotate early. Governments stimulate first. ETFs redirect flows month before retail understands what is happening. By the time everyone connects the dots, the buy window, it's not just closing, it's already gone. But you're here. You're seeing it in real time. The signals don't get louder. And don't forget, windows don't announce when they're closing, but they slam shut fast. I'm going to keep it like that. Hit that thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. I'm going to see all y'all on the next one.